In my family, because there wasn't a God, it was very important to be self-reliant, strong of yourself, and capable. And it was a big burden, but it felt like that's what everyone else was doing that in my family, so I guess that's what I needed to do. And so there was this push within me, a massive hunger to try to earn love. And so by the time I was 7, I was ahead in school by 2 grades. And I started to internalize this identity that I was a super kid. I looked like I was doing well, and I and my parents, my family, and a lot of other people that didn't know us very well, I think everyone assumed that I was, in fact, excelling, and there was never a true, authentic love and a feeling like I'm valuable and worthy without excelling in those ways.
When I was growing up, I was the youngest of 4 children. And when I was born, my parents were actually going through a really hard time. They had decided to divorce when they found out they were pregnant with me. And so we lived with my mom for a while. And both my mom and my father were really struggling. And they both developed pretty advanced alcohol addictions. It created a lot of just chaos in our house, a lot of volatility. And didn't know what the climate of our house was going to be in at any given moment. And for a young child, that was actually really scary. I did have a Bible when I was young, and I would read it, and I would look at these amazing pictures of Jesus hugging lambs and children, and I wanted that so bad. And when he didn't show up in the way that my little child's mind imagined, and I imagined pretty much God riding in on a white horse kind of thing, and our household miraculously becoming, just this beautiful, happy, light, safe, secure home. And when it didn't, and in fact it just seemed to kind of continue to get worse, then I felt abandoned by God as well. I just felt hopeless. I had a type of hopeless, and I felt unworthy.
I remember being about 13 or 14 years old, cornered my father in the kitchen, and I just looked at him and I said, "Why did you bring me here? Why did you create me?" And my dad said, "Well, your mom and I know that the world is messed up, but we thought if we had children and we raised them well, that they would help clean things up and improve things that are all messed up in the world." I was saying, if you're really my creator, then you're gonna tell me what my life is for. And I could tell that he was uncomfortable with that, but that was what he believed too.
At a certain point, I felt like my life kind of came to a standstill. I was a person that really held my feelings very close. I was very isolating. I didn't trust people. I had a hard time trusting. So I decided to do 2 new things in my participation here at my new church, Riverbend. Become a joiner and learn how to have community, and let community come around me, and learn how to be vulnerable. And then the second new thing that I did is when people asked to help me, I would always say no in the past. I wanted to have the experience of learning how to let people show up for me, because that's not something I had been able to trust in my past.
Living for just what the world has to offer is empty. And on some level, I knew that. And I didn't want to be here in this life anymore under those circumstances. The only reason why I stayed was for my younger brother. I knew that if I decided I was not going to live anymore, that my brother would do the same thing. And I wanted to protect him. And I did not have experience or goodness to draw from of myself. And so that I of myself am not strong and not able. And yet I made that admission, and as soon as I did, God met me right there. And I had an incredible, overwhelming God experience when I was 25. And it completely shattered my belief structure, because I met God. It wasn't like, I think I'll start trying to believe in God. It was like, I know God now. He introduced himself to me.
And God has really shown up. And when I look back on that little girl that was yearning for a true relationship, a relationship that I could really count on, and trust in, and that love and that joy that's depicted in the Bible that I wanted so much. I feel like that God is wanting that for me now.
There's so much love and so much beauty and so much grace and so much mercy. It's too big for you. You can't hold it. And it loves you even though you've gotten the answer wrong. I felt like I was being loved and I was being given grace and mercy so much bigger than what I deserved. I had been thinking that there was no God and insisting that people shouldn't try to find one. And I felt so guilty of myself, but God didn't judge me. He didn't condemn me. He gave me mercy and he gave me grace that I didn't deserve. And that just was the most powerful thing.